Hi everyone, welcome to my channel International Storyteller. In this channel you will find true horror stories worldwide. These stories are for entertainment purposes only. In this video, I will tell you the curse story of the Mexican ghost called La Llorona. The curse story of La Llorona was based on Mexican folklore that had scared many children for generations. In the Spanish language, La Llorona means weeping woman, and it is pronounced as La Llorona. The ghost of La Llorona is seen all over Mexico and the southwestern part of the United States. Generation after generation, Mexican children were very scared of the weeping ghost called La Llorona. The story of La Llorona is still alive in Mexico. Every child in Mexico knows something about the ghost of La Llorona. As they grow up, they gain more knowledge and a better awareness of the ghost. No one really knows when the ghost story of La Llorona began or from where it really originated. This ghost story is an oral transmission that has survived for more than 500 years and is known in Spain, several countries in South America, and some non-Spanish speaking countries. The ghost of La Llorona committed a horrific act when she was alive. Because of that, her spirit could not find peace after she was dead and trapped in this world. Though the tales vary from source to source, the one common storyline is that she is the spirit of a mother who drowned her daughter and now spends eternity searching for her daughter in rivers and lakes. It is said that now she roams the earth as a ghost and haunts children. Many kids claim that her ghost whispered into their ears before bedtime. The ghost of La Llorona mostly wanders along waterways, crying for her lost daughter. For generations in Mexico, mothers warned their kids not to walk by a river, lake, or irrigation canal after dark because the ghost La Llorona would get them. This ghost story of La Llorona dates back hundreds of years, from ghostly sightings to folklore tales, and its appearances in TV shows and films. The latest version came in the horror film called The Curse of La Llorona, released in 2019. Many sightings of the weeping lady walking the streets were also reported more than a decade before the Spaniards arrived in the Valley of Mexico in the year 1519. Many claim to see the ghost of La Llorona in a white dress wailing near water bodies such as rivers, lakes, or canals. There have been several sightings of La Llorona. One night back in 2008, a guy was driving his car on his way back home in Chicago. But his car broke down in the street about 15 miles north of his home. He took out his cell phone and called for a tow truck to help carry his car. He was sitting inside the car and waiting for the tow truck to arrive. In the dark, he rolled down the car window and suddenly started to hear the crying voice of La Llorona very clearly. At that time, the Border Patrol police was also patrolling that street and stopped near his broken car. Both the guy and the Border Patrol police officer heard the crying voice of La Llorona again. Another incident took place in El Salvador, which is a country in Central America. A girl named Mary was supposed to meet up with a friend to go to another friend's house. Mary was waiting for her friend where they had agreed to meet, which happened to be near a river. Then, from far away, she saw a woman all in white, and it looked just like her friend. So Mary starts following this woman, calling out for her because she thinks it's her friend. She followed the women near the river and kept calling out for her, but the women did not answer anything. It starts getting creepy because this woman is going towards these trees further and further. When Mary was getting closer to her, she started to realize that what she saw was not her friend, but actually the ghost of La Llorona walking by the river. Stories say that whoever approaches the ghost of La Llorona or hears her crying voice will suffer misfortune or death. It is also said that to avoid hearing her crying voice, run in the opposite direction from which the voice came. Different people have their own traditions and methods for keeping the ghost of La Llorona away. In some cultures, they use crosses, lights, and prayers to protect their children from this ghost. However, the ghost of La Llorona doesn't come into the house, and she's a mother in pain. Why do you think the ghost of La Llorona is always weeping and walking near water bodies like rivers, lakes, or canals? In order to know this, let us know the real story of La Llorona, or the weeping woman. The real story of the La Llorona, or the weeping woman, begins with a girl named Maria. When the ghost of La Llorona was alive, her actual name was called Maria. She was the most beautiful woman in her village. One day, Maria saw a guy who was not like the other guy from her village. He was a guy from a nearby town. He was rich and handsome. He also saw her, and they fell in love with each other with the first eye contact they made. After some days, they even got married, and eventually they had their first baby girl. But after a few happy years together, their marriage falls apart. Her husband began to spend less time with her at home. He was ignoring her and focusing his attention only on his daughter. As the years passed, Maria's husband seemed to stay out of home almost all the time. One day, he left his home and never came back. Later, Maria came to know that he had married another woman in another village. She was very angry at her husband but couldn't do anything. Then one day, while Maria was walking with her daughter, she noticed her husband and his new lady riding in a carriage. Maria's husband, while seeing her and their daughter, stopped the carriage. He came near Maria and their daughter. He talks only to his daughter, but he completely ignores Maria. Then he went back to the carriage, sitting next to a fashionable woman, and continued his journey without looking back at Maria. After seeing her husband's behavior, Maria grew so mad and turned on her daughter. Maria knows her husband doesn't love her but loves her daughter so much. For a moment, she totally went crazy and started hating whatever her husband loved. So Maria started hating her daughter whom her husband loved so much and threw her into the river. Then she kept watching as her daughter sank into the river. She suddenly realizes what she has done is wrong and is filled with regret. Maria runs down the river bank, weeping and saying, "Oh, my daughter." She tried so hard to save her daughter from the river but failed. Her daughter was swept away in the river and drowned. Soon after that, she killed herself at the bank of the river. The next day, a villager saw her dead body near the bank of the river. On the same day, Maria's dead body was buried in the village. That very night, the villagers hear a woman crying, and it sounds like Maria's voice saying, "Where is my daughter?" Then people start seeing a ghostly figure of a woman along the riverbed in a white dress, which is similar to Maria's burial garment. Every night, Maria's spirit could be heard crying and wailing for her daughter. As a result, parents warned their children not to go outside at night because they worried that the ghost of Maria might capture them and throw them in the river too. Many people believe that after Maria killed herself, her spirit was unable to rest in peace. She was then cursed to travel the surface of the earth until she found her daughter's soul, whom she drowned in the river. After that, the ghost of Maria started haunting people, especially children. Maria's ghostly appearance was always seen in a white dress, wailing and roaming near rivers, lakes, oceans, and water bodies, but always after dark. Later, her ghost came to be known as La Llorona, meaning the weeping woman. Every child who's heard about her ghost story says that the ghost of La Llorona has appeared in their dreams. The ghost story of La Llorona was often used by parents to warn their children not to stay out at night or to play near water alone. Because La Llorona will take them away and drown them in the water. The story has developed over the years, with people now saying she kidnaps children who look like her own little daughter.